Yes, greetings to you, family. I always like to say, in the best of salutations, there are five: patience, prayer, power, peace, and prosperity. This is a project that Adrian and I are doing. Uh, we want to call this as real as it gets, you know. And as real as it gets, what it's all about really is making history. It is a making of history for ourselves, you know. History that be him and I. My name is Kevin. Some call me Mwalimu Swahili for teacher. So what I like to say that I teach is not only reverence from the womb that which gave one birth, because one of the most powerful reproduction systems to me is system is the reproduction system, and that which is from the woman. So yes, as real as it gets, man. Adrian himself is the photographer, and he is the one that's doing the recording. Yes. One thing I realize in the society in which we live is that there is a lot of grandstanding, self aggrandizement, and a lot of insecurities, as well as uncertainties in the society. And when there is insecurities and uncertainties in the societies which we live, people try to make up for it in a manner, in a way that can cause more harm than good. We live in a society whereas that the those who control the means of productivity, media, press, and television, and the masses of people come to them and trust them for their guidance, their information, and their advice. Individuals like myself, who may not be in the mainstream of society, or others may be like Adrian himself, you may not want to listen to them because of it has not been accepted by the larger society. I remember Dr. King said something in regards to talking about poor people. He said something, and then when President Johnson said something, it had more so of a halo of respectability. We tend to admire and revere things that are distant from us. For example, we look at the people who may sing beautiful songs, and we don't know them, but we admire and revere them. And we tend to maybe cry more for them and have more emotional gravitational pull toward them, and it takes from the emotional gravitational pull and admiration and respect for those who are closest among us, you know. So, you know, all things are proximity to me. You know, this environment or this universe says to us that we must learn to coexist with one another. If we don't learn to coexist with one another, then we will perish, you know, as acting and behavior as fools, you know. That's why it says you never put a fool in a position of power, people will start thinking it's the model to follow, you know. So what is a following? A following is an exemplary act that you set, you know. And setting that model, it creates an environment, as a Islamic term called ummah, you know, a community. Not to mention, in that community, you tend to cultivate the potential, the resources, the talents, the gifts, and the skills of all those who are a part of that community, you know. And you can have all the organization in the world, but you must first have cooperation. That's why I've come to learn to know that adequate cooperation leads to proper communication, and that's how you effectively coordinate your power, you know. The late Dr. Du Bois said that, I'm paraphrasing what he says about the interruption of how we do business with one another. You know, how we do business with one another has been interrupted, you know, when it comes to colonialism and the enslavement of a people, you know. And I think Kwame Ture talked about that too, the evolutionary process from tribe to clan to continental people. I can't recall the exact stages of it, of the evolutionary process. But it makes the connection almost sound like unto perfection, you know, each stage of one's life you want to perfect. But when that stage of one's life has been interrupted and someone else comes in to fill the void, and if the void is empty, they will come in and fill that void as like in neurological transmitters that have been disconnected, and you connect them back into the wrong source. And therefore it creates a chemical unbalance, you see. I think Chinka Diop talked about that which is different is climatic, you know, environment. And we look at, you know, what has major influences over the environment: government, community, leadership, culture, religion, and business, you know. So, but needless to say, man, we must continue, man, to do our best to be the best human being that we can. By doing so, we must first establish the human person, you know, the human person. The individual, you know, because the person in the Latin sense of the word means that through which sound is made, you know, because that means before there is motion, there is sound, meaning that your word must become your bond, you know, and that is a sense of integrity, you know, and we continue to bond and coexist with one another in the best of ways, see. But yes, in that integrity, you know, we have to deal with the dignity. And when we have the dignity, we know the importance of being noble, the nobility, you know. But in the dignity, I mean the integrity and the dignity and the nobility and the confidence that we have in cooperating with one another in this learning environment. The universe is a learning environment. We're here to learn one from another, you know. Learn the best that we can in the way that we can, and that which we can learn from the universe is that you look at the sun, the moon, and the stars, they are interdependent of each other. That means they live in a harmony, you know. And one thing I realized that the planets itself, you know, they have a magnetic field, a magnetic force that will not let nothing contaminated come close to it. So we must not let nothing come to contaminate us from being peaceful, living in harmony, one for another, you know, or one with another, for the development of our intellect, for the betterment of humanity. When it comes to the salvation of the soul, you know, I liken myself to be an attorney general for the human salvation, the salvation of humanity, yes. And then so there are legal proceedings that must take place. And when we understand that there's legal proceedings that take place, we understand the law of the universe, that oneness is stronger than conflict and unity is stronger than diversity. We realize that the universe speaks only one language, that is the language of frequency. Yes, and we realize too that what goes up must come down. So we want to keep it as real as we can and as much as we can. We want to combat a lot of the foolishness, People will foster foolishness all day long, That's why I said you never argue with a fool, because it's hard to distinguish on the outside which one is the fool. Keeping it real or real. This is as real as it gets. Until next time, this is the Adrian and Kevin Project. Common Humanity Mission. Promoters of the value of self-worth. Communicators of precision and clearer image to the world through 5 channels of communication: understanding, tolerance, temperance/temperament, confidence, and respect. The motto is, the mission is to promote the value of self-worth. And the mandate is to cultivate the potential of knowledge that is within us all. This is as real as it gets. Talk to you.